All right, Internet, if you're here, it's very likely that you posted a picture or a comment about this thing somewhere on social media, and someone used this video to tag it and explain just exactly what it is you're looking at. When I came up with the idea for this thing, social media didn't even exist. I knew it was going to be unique, but I had no idea that it was going to have the reach that it's had and get the comments and the shares and the hatred and the confusion that it's caused. It usually starts out the same. Someone posts a picture and says something like, haha, smart van, or short van, or something like that. And my friends will usually jump in and make the person think that it's real. But it always turns into anger and frustration. I don't know why this thing is such a lightning rod for hate, or why it confuses people so much, but it doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon, because it just keeps getting posted and reposted and shared and reshared. And no matter how many times it is, people still don't understand what it is, and it makes them mad. So to ensure I don't get accused of clickbait, here's the short answer. It's a trailer. I built it to not look like a trailer, with the tongue removable and the rear wheels unbolting for transport. And the next question is usually why? Well, I built it so my kids had a place to sleep. It's cooler than a tent, and they've got their own little van to hang out in at Vannins. Normally people say it's stupid and there's not enough room inside, but there's actually plenty of room, and our entire family has sat in here during rainstorms before. I could have made it more obvious, like this one, but I wanted to have a little bit more style to it. Towing it backwards allows it to use the factory shocks and springs, so it actually has a suspension and doesn't beat itself up. Plus, it would really be a shame to miss out on the opportunity to really freak people out on the highway. So, you can click off now if you don't care, or you can stick around and I'll tell you the whole story. This thing started as a long wheelbase 1975 Dodge van that I bought for 75 bucks. I had a lot of vans, and a guy drove by and asked me if I wanted another one. For 75 bucks, I took it. I could never understand why everyone made van trailers out of two backs when, size-wise, you could make it out of the front. Once the engine's gone, there's a lot of cargo room, and it just looks way cooler. So I set out to do that. I can't believe that no one else has done this since. This thing spent a lot of years in just a mocked-up situation, and I actually moved it from garage to garage when we moved houses. Having to actually trailer my trailer was kind of ridiculous. Once it was outside, it definitely started getting a lot of attention. This first picture has been on the internet for years. I always had my vision for what I wanted it to be and how I wanted it to tow, and I just never gave up on that. Just took a while to finally get around to it. The sliding out trailer tongue is one of my favorite things. It's got a spine that runs the entire length of the vehicle, and it's welded to the front K-member. So it's really rigid, and there's a second tube that just slides inside the spine and bolts into place like a regular trailer hitch. Just like any old van that got pulled out of a field, it took a lot of cleaning up to get things ready to be welded on. Once the spine was in place, the next thing to tackle was the rear axle. I had come up with a bunch of ideas over the years, even thinking about using a regular axle with the pinion spinning an alternator to charge a battery for lights. But this gas pipe ended up working out perfectly, and I was able to use the hub flanges to bolt the rear wheels to. So there's only two bolts that come off, then the rear wheels come out of place to tow. But once they're bolted on, it acts like a parking brake, and the trailer can't go anywhere. To keep the proportions right, I used front flares, front and back, so the wheel wells match. Even though there wasn't much body left, I still had to get patch panels for the corners. Not having to worry about airflow meant we can cover over the whole front end, and I knew that was going to look awesome behind the Phantom grill that I had. The first time we had this thing outside, mocked up, all welded together was an awesome feeling. I originally thought maybe I could use those short back tires in tow, but I knew it wasn't going to sit the way I wanted it to with the trailer tongue removed. With no engine, there's actually quite a bit of room to build a bed in here. As I said, my 4 boys have slept in here. And all this extra structure really helped to keep the whole thing square. There's still enough room under the hood for a nice little storage area for tools or anything else. At one point I thought I could put a barbecue grill in here, but there's just not enough size for it. I knew the front doors weren't going to open, but I still wanted to be able to roll the windows down. In 2016, we had a bunch of vans going into the piston-powered Autorama, and a bunch of guys from Vanarchy came over to help me get this thing together for the show. The difference in the factory roof from front to back is huge, but I made this cap to cover it up. I also had to make inner wheel wells for the rear wheels. I wanted a staggered look, and I think the offset of the front and back wheels works just perfectly. The day we had it outside ready for the show, I posted these pictures on the show van site, and it immediately took off. Sometimes guys complain about the mismatching front and rear wheels, but I think with the size, having the larger holes in the rear wheels works with proportions. Once I hooked it up to my full-size custom project van, I felt like the king of customizing. took it to the 2017 Van Nationals in Mansfield, Ohio, and it got enough exposure that it actually ended up in a magazine. I'm always looking for the next way to mess with people's heads, and I knew when the next Autorama came around exactly what to do. That's one thing that people always said, oh, it doesn't even have a steering wheel. So this tricked them a few more times. Ron helped me out with getting this thing out of the show again, using his wife likes his van. So there you have it. It's not photoshopped, it's not ruined, it's not stupid, it's not yard art. People just don't understand it.